Hey guys, and welcome to this video about the Evil Dead Rise potential sequels. I just want to say before we start the video, this article that I'm going to go through in this video does have spoilers. So if you haven't seen the Evil Dead Rise yet, I would recommend seeing that movie beforehand and then coming back to the video after. So we're going to jump into this article from Variety. The Evil Dead Rise director reveals his 4 sequel ideas and the origin of that disgusting cheese grater scene. For the people that have seen this movie, they know what this cheese grater scene's all about. It's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. Obviously, the trailer doesn't show you the rest of what happens, but for those of you who have seen it, it's it's pretty intense. So let's jump into the article anyway. This post contains spoilers for the Evil Dead Rise. Just to warn you again, guys. Evil Dead Rise director Lee Cronenberg has made his enthusiasm for the horror franchise known over the course of the past weeks, with each interview featuring him taking delight in recounting the amount of gore and severed limbs he had to wrangle on set. It's no surprise that when asked about the future of the franchise, Cronin is full of ideas. In a conversation with Variety, Cronin breaks down the biggest burning questions after seeing Rise. The Evil Dead Rise director was asked the following question: "Do you have any ideas for sequels?" "I certainly do. I didn't want to bait it for sequels necessarily, even though the ending could be interpreted that way. But the ending for me was a closing loop back to the beginning. The way the story is told, I've got 4 places I'd like to look in terms of where to go. I'm excited for the potential of what could come next, and I really hope that I can be involved in the future chapters." The director goes on to talk about his 4 different ideas that he has for future installments of the franchise. The story behind the Book of the Dead. We have a history in this film, and that's presented through the vinyl, so there's a story to be told there. It's not by accident. Beth takes her chainsaw on the road. Somebody that survives picks up the chainsaw at the end, and where that might go. The apartment building. There's also the aftermath of the building, what happens in this building, and who encounters that. And I've often thought, what happens when the cleanup crew shows up? Back to the woods. Because of the opening and the closing, there's that continuation of how the evil has a gate. That brings us back into the forest context, which excites me because I love that I broke the mold. But wouldn't it be fun now if I went back to the cabin in the woods? It would be a cool journey. The director was then asked next, with all the gore in the film, how did Rise possibly get an R rating? Did you have to cut any content to escape an NC-17 rating? The director replies, "I was surprised too. What's interesting about that, just to kind of contextualise it from another angle, is in a lot of places in the rest of the world, like here in Ireland or in the UK, 18 is what the age restriction is here, which means no under 18 can watch it. So I love the existence of the R rating because it puts the responsibility on the grown-up to determine if they want to bring a 7-year-old to watch this movie, which I find pretty wild and will probably happen." The director goes on to further say, "We did have to make a couple of tiny tweaks, but very small ones. Also, in approaching this movie, because it's The Evil Dead, I knew I had to be brave. So I tried not to second guess anything and think, is that too much? Probably we got the rating because it's entertaining, not mean-spirited. Not to suggest that this softens the edges, but there's a levity to that, and the outlandishness to the horror. It's by no means cartoonish like The Evil Dead 2, but it's quite unbelievable in its spectacle. That helped us. Had the movie got banned, that would have driven some press as well, but I'm glad it didn't." The last question that the director was asked in this article was, what was the inspiration between that disgusting cheese grater scene? And he goes on to answer, "It was a necessity. It was a hunt for something different. I wrote this movie at the beginning of COVID pandemic, so I was locked in my apartment writing this script on my bed when an evil force outside my door, aka COVID-19. Being trapped in this space gave me a lot of time to look around at things. I've always wanted to be there to be in a fight in the kitchen. Being Irish, the kitchen is at the heart of the home. It's where people congregate. I knew I wanted there to be this domestic showdown in the kitchen, and I thought about that different things that could be used in there. It was just one of those moments where I thought, I don't think I've seen anyone use a cheese grater before, or certainly not in that horror context. Once I landed on it, it's like our version of the Dancing Megan. This is the Evil Dead Rise thing, the damn cheese grater. Even last night we had a European premiere of this movie here in Dublin, in a beautifully dressed cinema. In the party area were all the tables. There were these beautiful flower displays that were coming out of the cheese graters. I've also got a cheese grater tattoo on my arm now, which I did right at the South by Southwest in a moment of tomfoolery. There's no escaping that cheese grater." Have you guys seen The Evil Dead Rise? What did you guys think of it? Jump down in the comment section. I'd love to know what you think. What do you think about the director's comments on the potential sequels going forward? Are you looking forward to seeing more of these movies in the future? I definitely am, that's for sure. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.